Alright, now that I've made the window tag, I'm going to go ahead and make the door tag as a block. So it says open the block editor to create a block named door tag. So we'll go into the block editor. Create one called door tag. Again, it's just blank in here. What we're going to do now, we don't have a circle to start with, but we're just going to define attributes to make a 3 and a 0. Actually, it calls for a 2 and a 0, but we can change that since they're attributes. Let's go to the Insert, Define Attributes. I'm just going to follow the pictures right here in the book. So 2, enter feet. I have it default to 2. Do check this, lock position, and the reason for that is we're going to have to put a rotation on this to make it dynamic, and you cannot rotate it if it's not locked. So it's important that you do check that. We'll leave these at the defaults here, 1/8 inch. Say OK, and we'll just place it down anywhere. Kind of zoom into it so we can actually see it now. So there's the one for feet. I'm going to define a new attribute, and we'll put a 0 here. Enter inches, 0 for the default. Leave that locked. Say OK, and we're just going to place it kind of visually right where we need it. Alright, so we've got those guys right here. Position the attributes where we need them. We need to insert a rotate parameter. So we're going to do a rotation here. It says specify a base point, wherever, just generally kind of in the center of this thing. And then we'll just pull it over here. We'll put it at a full 360 degrees. And then specify the label location. This part doesn't really matter. You can just click anywhere. Notice I have a little exclamation point that lets me know that I still have to apply an action to that parameter. So I need to go to the Actions tab, select the Rotate action. It wants me to select a parameter, so I'll select that as my parameter. And the reason I had to do that action thing is it doesn't know which objects in this block need to rotate. So I had to select the objects, press enter, and it's all good. I don't have a exclamation point anymore. I get this little thing that shows me this block is good now. So I can always test out in that block editor, test block, and I have to zoom way into it, but I can test it and make sure that I can do the rotate on it. So that's good. Close the test block window. A couple of things that I still need to do. The book again forgets to mention that you have to put a base point. Don't forget the base point. If you do, you'll totally notice it. Wherever for your base point, I'm going to put mine right in the center here. And then one more thing that I need to do is make it annotative. I'm going to come back over here to the Home tab so I can open up my properties. When you don't have anything selected, it's hard to get this thing. You have to come over here to the Properties panel. But with nothing at all selected, I'm going to say annotative, yes. Close that out, close the block editor, save the changes to the door tag, and now when I insert it, make sure that you have your annotation scale set down here. I'm going to insert my door tag, and it looks good. It comes in perfectly. I could change that to a 3.0 door, and it updated. I can click on it if I need to rotate it for any of my other doors. I can easily rotate it. And my block works. Things that might have gone wrong. So if this does not work for you, again, always make sure that you have a real annotation scale set down here. If you don't have it, if you leave this at 1:1, it will come in teeny, teeny, tiny. We made this 1/8 of an inch tall, so imagine 1/8 of an inch next to a 24-foot wall. It's really going to be tiny. So make sure that you have your annotation scale set before you insert the block. If you insert the block and you don't see it, you can go into the block editor. It's tiny in here. You have to kind of zoom into it, but make sure that you have a base point set. If you don't have a base point, it assumes 0,0 is the base point, and who knows where that is. So make sure you have a base point. Also make sure that in the properties it is set to be annotative. This needs to be annotative. When you're filling out that attribute though, the attribute itself is not annotative. So be sure nothing else is annotative in here, just the block definition, just the block itself when nothing is selected. So that should help with some troubleshooting if you're bringing it in and it's just not working for you. Also, the book says, it mentions to leave this, whenever you're creating it, leave the annotation scale at 1:1. When we're drawing this, we need to make it 1:1 so that when we insert it, it can scale itself up to the right size. So hopefully that helps. Good luck with the door tag.